So.
Okay, awesome. So whenever you girls are ready, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'll start. Yeah, my name is Darcie Brohman. I'm going into my third year at McMaster. I'm studying sociology, and I'm minoring in social policy. I don't know what else to say. Oh, I guess I played Team Ontario growing up a little bit. I also played with the U16 and the U18 national team and Next Gen, and most recently I've trained with the senior women's national team.
Hi, I'm Maddie Babineau. I graduated from university in 2021. I went to Providence College for 4 years. I did elementary and special education. And because of COVID, I got a 5th year, so I went to Michigan State University. I played at high school level, Ontario level, junior national team, and then I played for the indoor senior national team, and I was lucky enough to go to the World Cup a couple years ago.
Hi, my name's Ella Bonnell. I'm going into my 3rd year of university in the States. I started at Hofstra University in Long Island and recently made the transfer to Bellarmine University in Kentucky. I study political science with a minor in criminal justice studies. I played high school. I did my time for the Ontario Red Team. There is U16, U18 national experience working with Next Gen. I trained on the squad of the indoor women's national team and continue to go to some Next Gen camps when I have the time.
Thanks for joining us, ladies. Thanks. Awesome.
Yeah, we're excited.
Awesome. So I would say, what is your favorite part about playing field hockey?
I think my favorite part about playing field hockey, I think it might sound a little bit cliche, but definitely like the community and all like the friendships I've made along the way. I think growing up, I played a lot of soccer and ice hockey, and those were like very big sports. And I think when I made the transition to field hockey, I was kind of shocked by everyone knows everyone. It's a very tight-knit community. And I just felt like supported from the get-go. So that was something that I really valued when I first started playing field hockey and also continue to value through like my university career. So yeah, that's probably my favorite thing.
Well, how did you get started? Is a good place to start.
Oh, what, sorry?
How did you get started?
Okay. I got started in grade 9. I grew up playing soccer and like every other sport that you play in elementary school. My mom wanted me to try. She said, just give it a try. See if you like it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to after that. And I like instantly fell in love with it and kind of just took off from there. Like I had always played soccer. Like my plan was to go to the States for soccer, and then field hockey kind of came quickly. Like I did the Ontario provincials, and then I got onto the junior national team, and it kind of just skyrocketed from there. But for me, I like the creativity of the game. Like I played soccer growing up, and like the fancy like stick skills that you can do, and just I love the game. It's just fun sport.
I started when I was 7. My mom put me in because she played growing up, and when she came to Canada and she found field hockey program to put me in. I think for me, I've now been playing for 13 years, and field hockey has given me my greatest highs, but at the same time, some of my greatest lows. There are some crazy challenges, but I think just the best moments in my life, like when I come off of a game and I've played well, if I come off of practice and I played well, I'm floating off the ground. My mom can see it on my face. It looks like I'm just floating a foot off the ground. I'm just hovering. I'm just in my own world because I'm so happy and so proud of myself.
I can also add, I guess, how it started, because I didn't really mention that earlier. So I'm originally from Goderich, and I think if anyone's ever like stepped foot into the sporting world in Goderich, they'll know Ray Lewis, and he's involved and has been involved with like Team Ontario in the past. So he was my Team Ontario coach at one point. But I was going to school where he was the field hockey coach, just coincidentally, and I'd been very involved in sports but never ever seen field hockey before. And he kind of roped me in, and he was like, you're athletic, and you should just come out and try it one day. And kind of similar to you, like I just kind of fell into it, and it's been a whirlwind ever since, but it kind of just took off. So yeah.
Thanks. Awesome. So how do you guys balance schoolwork and playing the sport?
Okay. I think like the number one thing is just like like when I go into a season, I'm kind of looking at the bigger picture to begin with. So I'm thinking like, what are my games and what classes do I have, and not taking too much on, especially when you are in season. Like I typically take like a lighter course load and just things like that. Being very, very organized and disciplined with your organization, your time management is so important. But I think going into like any season, I look at the bigger picture, and then also like every week I sit down and I'm like, what do I have for training this week? What do I have for lifting or conditioning I have to do? What do I have for classes? And I kind of just go and plan my schedule. And then just, I think after a while, just practicing that schedule, it kind of becomes a habit. So
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like I always had a planner and I would put like a list of what I have to do today. Like I just take it day by day, because if you look at the big picture too much, you can get pretty overwhelmed. Like at my first year, I remember it's like, oh my gosh, I have this due, I have a game, a practice, lift, meeting. Like how's it all gonna happen? But you kind of just learn to break down day by day. For me, I like really learned to use my resources. As like a first year, you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to like bug these people. Like I don't want to be a pain, but I use like my academic advisor, coaches. Like it's really important to use your resources because that's their job. They're there to help you. So definitely take advantage of that. Yeah.
100% agree. I think organization, having a planner, for me personally, using your resources, you're not bothering these people. They're there to help you and they want to help you. So totally use them. Use everything on your campus that you have. And then for me also, I try and squeeze I try and like squeeze in, even if it's just a little bit of work every time you sit down. Like you come in from practice, you have like 5-10 minutes. I'll try and read, even if it's only 2 pages that I get done. I'll just try and get that done. If I'm on the bus, I'm doing homework on the bus. A lot of my teammates are like, Ellie, you're always working, but it's just, even if I just get a little bit done every day, every time I have a little spare minute, it just helps me lighten my workload. And so I got a name for myself of just being this person like, bus, as soon as the bus pulls out of the parking lot, I've got my laptop open and I'm starting my work right away.
I agree. I feel like you have to like make time. Like I think people are like, how do you find the time? But it's like it comes to a point of like you make the time. Like every spare minute you get, if you're on the bus, if you're in the change room and you're waiting for your coach to come give you like your pregame talk, like you're reading your textbook. Like I'm the same way, and I think that's a very important like trait to have. Also, like kind of bouncing off of the whole discussion about like using your resources, I think like such a big and like underrated resource for me was like the senior players on my team.
Yeah.
Like I think it's so important to like use like the resources that your university provides you, but you know those senior players who have been there for 4 or 5, some of them 6 years, like they have so much wisdom and knowledge and you know skills and things like that. So just not being afraid to like talk to them and ask them questions like throughout the recruiting process, but then also in my first year was, I think, the biggest thing that helped me too.
I think my seniors on my team built my schedule for me. They taught me how to use that little planner, and they taught me how to do course selection. I had no idea what I was doing, and asked them to be like, hey, what do you know about this professor? What do you know about this class? And totally look at those recommendations, get their suggestions, especially when you're in season. Choose wisely, choose your professors and choose your classmates, and definitely use that.
I think it even plays into the picture now. Like I'm a teacher now, like I've been working for a bit, and the idea of like using your resources really comes in handy, because it's like when you're going into a job, sometimes it's like, I don't know exactly like my role at the beginning. So using your resources, it doesn't just stop. Like once you're in university, it still continues on to the real world after.
Life skills for field hockey. Yeah.
They really do help. Like it's once you're done university, it doesn't just stop. Like time management, like working with the team. Like people always think it sounds like cliche, but it really does help. Like when I manage my time now, it's like, wow, like this is a lot easier now that I've been through the whole university experience.
Awesome. Yeah. So I would say definitely there's a lot of skills that you picked up in your time in university and playing as an athlete that you can use in your everyday life. And I relate to that as well. There's a lot of things that you pick up in school when it comes to like organization, that kind of thing. I'm a big list person myself. I have like a whole bunch of like sticky notes and everything everywhere. So I get that. Going to like kind of talking about like the mental side of the game. What would you say is some of the biggest mental challenges that you faced as a player?
I think for me, like, just like, I guess they call it like imposter syndrome. Like, I think I'd spent a very long portion of my youth, like, knowing I wanted to play field hockey in university, and that was something I was really striving for. And then when I kind of got there, I was like, wow, like, I can't believe I'm actually here. And I think that kind of pressure that I think a lot of it was pressure I put on myself kind of was overwhelming. Just like, oh, like, this is a university game, and just kind of overthinking everything that was happening. Like, I was in my first year of university playing, but I felt like I was still like 14 years old, and I like just picked up a stick for the first time. Like, I was like, it just can't be real. And I think kind of going back to the resources that we use, like, a really big thing for me was talking to other players on my team. Like, I was definitely not the only person going through that experience. And talking to, I remember at the time it was like my defense partner, talking to her a lot about like how she kind of overcame similar things and like mental strategies she used like on the field and leading into games and little superstitions we had. It kind of became a really great way for us to connect, but also a great way for me to overcome that challenge. So yeah.
Mine, for me personally, like I loved the challenge, like the big games, like
Yeah.
the pressure of like school of balancing everything. I think for me it was honestly like the fitness testing. Like I always got in my head, like, oh gosh, like I gotta pass this or not gonna play. But if you're doing your training, like over the summer, they give you a packet to follow and everything, then you're gonna be fine. So it's just trusting in the training that you've done, all the work you've put in, like at home with nationals and conventions and everything, and knowing that that'll get you through it. It's just one test, 20 minutes, then you're done.
I think for me, I've had a unique experience. The last 2 years, I've gone through 4 different head coaches in the last 2 years at university. And I think for me, that's created a lack of consistency. It's been hard. Every time you get a new head coach, there's almost this feeling that you have to prove yourself all over again and go through this kind of tryout process. Obviously, I was on the team, but it's this new head coach that comes in and you have to prove yourself all over again. Obviously with transferring schools as well, it was this whole like, you have to prove yourself. I had to I felt I didn't really need to because, these people knew me, but I felt like I had to prove myself every time. And I put a lot of pressure on myself with this lack of consistency and a lack of being able to create a really deep connection with my coaches. I'm now hoping fourth head coach is my final one and I can just move forward, create a really deep connection with my new head coach, and start working with them, and get to know them better so that I don't feel this constant need to prove myself.
And you changed schools midway as well, right?
I did my 4 years at Providence College, and then because of COVID, I got that extra year. Yeah, so going into that experience, like whole new team, your 5th year, it's like, oh, like who's this girl coming in? And I mean, everyone was doing it because of COVID, but it was just you're with these girls and the coaches every day, so I find it like kind of easier to build that relationship with them. But it's just kind of you gotta jump in right away and show them who you are and you fit in.
And I guess also your Team Ontario days and stuff like that, like just forming and,
Exactly.
forming process of pulling a team together is stressful enough. So the mental strength, like I know some teams have just gone through it just now, and they're going to go through it in the U16s as well. Anything to add to just being able to, how do you manage that mental stress levels with change, I guess?
I think just knowing you're all in it together and going through it together, because you're not just by yourself. It's a team sport and relying on each other in the tough times.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think just for me, kind of just like reconceptualizing that like challenges are a part of the sport, and in a way, kind of what I think I love about the sport. And I think you kind of touched on this earlier, but we're all competitive, we're all athletes. And I think part of, that gratification you get when you win a game or you play really well or you have good practice, that is a compilation of you overcoming all of those challenges. And I don't think it would, victory wouldn't taste so sweet unless you would overcome those things. So just remembering like that, there is a goal in the long run and there's just some bumps along the way, but hopefully you'll reach that goal. And if not, like you are surrounded by everyone else who's going through the same thing as you. So I think for me, just kind of, keeping the eye on the prize is what I try to do when I'm going through like a hard mental time or a challenge like with my team. So
I think also as female athletes, we are harder on ourselves than anyone else on our team is, because I know coming in to Bellarmine, I was so hard on myself. Every pass had to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect. And I'm almost certain that my team my team didn't see the missed pass or the missed shot. They just saw me and they accepted me immediately. And field hockey in Ontario is very supportive. Your team, whatever team you're on for your for nationals, for provincial, these girls are all here for you. And if you just get out of your head, you'll find that they're really supportive and they're all here for you. Your coaches are here for you, but you have to leave your head first and you have to leave your own thoughts behind to actually be able to see that no one's judging you. You're judging yourself.
Sure. Great advice. Very true. Thank you.
Awesome. So it's kind of like when you're coming down to those big time moments, it's kind of being mindful, being in the moment, right? And kind of working through that moment and then getting through it as a team, or it's working through it yourself. Awesome. So for your future, how do you guys see yourselves being involved with the sport when you get older? Do you see like a lifetime of field hockey in some capacity?
I think at this point, like for me, like I love field hockey so much. Like I don't think when I graduate that it can be over just because it's become such a big part of my life. I think, you know, as I start to kind of approach the more like senior years of university, I'm kind of starting to think like, what will it look like for me in the future? And there's kind of two parts to it. The first part is I definitely want to continue to play just because I love playing. I love being on the field. But I think the second way that you can get involved is like coaching. I know you've been doing some coaching and it's very rewarding to have the opportunity to give back to an experience that's benefited you so much and that you've really enjoyed doing and give someone else that opportunity. So coaching, umpiring, anything with like tech table, things like that, getting involved, whether it's like FHC, FHO, your local club. Yeah, I think it's so important to get involved. I recently have joined like the Varsity Leadership Council at McMaster, and I think it's really helped me recognize how much work there is that is behind the scenes for field hockey. And, you know, we do fundraising and we do events and all this to kind of help, especially women's sports and kind of give back to our community. And it's just been such like a rewarding and enjoyable experience and definitely something that I want to continue to do in the future. So, yeah.
I think since graduating about like 4 years ago, I feel like field hockey is one of those sports that you never just leave. Like you're always a part of the community, whether you're going like every day to the practices or just even like the tournaments this summer I played in. When you see everyone, it's just like you were just seeing them yesterday. So that's like one of the things I love about field hockey. But I'm still involved as well. Like I'm not currently doing like the indoor national team right now, just from like career stuff, trying to get that started. But still like umpiring, coaching, playing in the tournaments in the summer.
Yeah.
Like it's never a sport that I want to just stop playing. Whether that means like masters one day when I'm older too. I think I always want to be involved.
Same as well. It's been part of my life for so long. I can't imagine life without it. Like Darcie said, I was the team manager and apprentice coach for the U18 Red team. It was kind of my first dive into coaching. Got a taste for that and I really, really enjoyed it. And now U16 nationals, I've been selected to umpire for the U16 nationals. And I can really see that if I always want to play, even if it's just a women's league or, you know, those senior tournaments on the weekends, those are awesome. I love seeing everyone. But the other ways I'm really looking to further my coaching and my umpiring, so that I can always have some aspect. I can always be on the field in some way, for the rest of my life.
I just have a question. Like
Yeah.
going back on the mental question, this is one like physicality. So like as rookies coming in, they don't realize like there's a lot of training that goes into it. You have weights, you have practice, you have preseason. Like there's just so much to it. Like your body is just going through a lot throughout the weeks, months actually. So like what would you say to them when it comes to like a physical challenge? Like how important is it for recovery and, you know, for putting in that downtime? Like is there downtime with training and your guys' schedule? Like do you guys really have the time to give your body a break? And like what was just that?
For us during preseason in the States, it's like you'd practice in the morning, you'd have a little break to eat, recover. So whether it be like Normatec pants, rolling out, taking your nap, that's something I really like. Naps, you think like it's not going to help, but the naps are really helpful. You need to have your practice in the afternoon, a lift after dinner, meeting. So it's a lot of scheduled time for like when you're preseason, you're not in school, which is nice. So you have that time to recover and just spend the time with your teammates. But I think really focusing on recovery, like ice baths, is really important because it's a lot on your body. Like when you're doing provincials and stuff, the one practice a day, like in the hot weather is a lot, but when in preseason, it's hard on the body, sure. Like you guys can speak for that as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I think it becomes about making time. So I'll sit on the floor with my laptop in front of me and I'm rolling out. I'm using a Theragun. It's all just part of making that time, creating it for yourself, going in and you have an AT that's dedicated to your team. Pay attention to those hours, those communications. Again, use your resources, communicate with that AT what your needs are. And, if you have to go in early before practice, you do that. If you've got your notes, you have a test, you've got notes, your Quizlet on your phone, you're flipping through your Quizlet while you're getting treatment, whatever it is. But it's very important. 100%. It's sleep. And I think as a freshman, I struggled the most with getting enough sleep. I was up really late trying to do my homework. I felt like I had to just get everything done. And so I would be up really late and just not getting enough sleep. So I've been really trying to focus on that and drinking water as well. Carry a water. I now have an emotional support water bottle, and that thing comes with me everywhere. I'm just constantly drinking water. So water and sleep, and it's like so important.
I agree. Like, I think kind of making the time, and like for me, that's something that, I think is so important. I know my team really values that, and it's something that our ATs are kind of always stressing on us to do. And I think for me, like really penciling in that time and like scheduling it into my day, like for me, like I might not do it if, it's kind of like, oh, like it's something easy to like skip cool down after practice, or maybe don't throw the Normatec pants on. So for me, really like blocking out the time in the day to do it. I think especially going into, your freshman season when, it's going to be a bit of a shock to the body. Like preseason, you have 2-a-days, at least we do at my school. So it's just a lot of touches on the ball plus lifting and all of those things. It can be very overwhelming. So just making sure that you're finding that time, because I think it is a very underrated and important part of the sport. So
I think also fueling your body too.
Yeah.
Like if you have a morning practice, they're hard and they're intense. You can't get away with just having. Some people can with a granola bar, but I feel like you really need to actually fuel your body after your practice, chocolate milk or shakes, something, because you're burning so much in a day, and the hot days too, you need like Gatorade and everything as well.
Yeah, you learn what snacks your body, pay attention. Don't just eat eat mindfully. Like I learned, we had 6:30 practices and I would be up an hour before. I'd be up at 5:30. I'd be eating full breakfast in the dark in my room because my roommate's still asleep, and I'd be eating a cereal and some milk, and then I pay attention afterwards. How did I feel at practice? Do I need more? Do I need bigger portion? Did I feel okay with that? And so pay attention to what your body needs and listen to it. And then snacks, along with naps. Snacks are so underrated. My backpack is just loaded up with all kinds of snacks. In between class, eat between class, eat in class, just whatever you need. Whatever you need to fuel your body. Just use snacking. It's a tool. It's a good tool.
This is all very relatable. Like the snacks, the naps, like all of it is so relatable. But I think it kind of just comes back to like listening to your body. And I think that's like nutrition, yes, but also just like when it comes to like maybe injury prevention, stretching, cool downs, icing, Normatec, all of that. Just like really listen to yourself and be honest with yourself when you need a break, because it's better to take that break than be injured or be overexhausted or things like that. So
you get to learn your body.
Exactly.
What you might do might be different than what I do. Like over time, you kind of learn what works for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's very helpful for folks, especially the ones who are dialing in for this or listening in. They want to know what life is as a varsity athlete. So all this is all great information.
Awesome. And then to wrap it up, can you guys give like a word or a phrase that you say that would kind of describe your varsity experience?
Okay, yeah. I think my word would be growth. Like not even just as a field hockey player, but just as a person in general. Like field hockey wise, if I look at myself where I started to where I finished, like I grew as a player. Like my game got faster, like especially NCAA. You're playing against some of the top players, not even just in the States, but you have people from all over the world there. So I definitely grew as a player. And then even just as a person, like I was super shy at the beginning, like talking to professors, you just learn it's a whole world of their reality that you learn all the life skills for the future, like the time management, communication, collaboration. Like they sound like just cheesy ones, but when it comes to interviews and everything in the future, like they're actually really useful skills that you'll use for life.
100%.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think my work and my experience probably be surreal. I think it's something I kind of talked about in the past. Like it's always been a dream of mine to be a varsity athlete in university. And I think kind of keeping in the mindset of like, this is kind of a dream come true and something I really strive for. And it kind of keeps you pushing when times get tough and, you know, you're facing those mental challenges or those lows, or you're just going through maybe a really hard fitness test or something like that. Just keeping in perspective, like how far you've come and, you know, that you're kind of living in a goal or a dream that you've achieved. And that kind of all just ties back to, you know, being grateful for where you are and where you're going. And I think it's gratitude is so important, especially during like hard times. So yeah.
I think mine has to be perseverance. I had a hard experience my first 1.5 years at Hofstra where I started. I struggled to gain like recognition, to get playtime, to get coaching, and to fit in and feel that I belonged on that team. And so I made the hard decision to transfer mid-year in December. I came home in December, Christmas, not with all my stuff packed up in my car, not knowing where I was going to go. And at the last minute, transferred to Bellarmine. I signed and committed to them and basically turned around a week after Christmas and just drove to Kentucky, sight unseen. I'd never seen school before. I'd never met my coach in person. I'd never met anyone on the team. And I think it was all just like perseverance for love of the sport. And I just pushed through. I kept showing up at practice. I did all of it just for love of the sport, for myself. When times got hard at Hofstra, playing for that head coach in particular, I had to come back to myself and play for me and remember that I loved this sport. I love it for me. I'm not doing it for her, for you. And I think that's what kept me going. And now I'm in a much better place. And it's just because I just persevered and I pushed through and I showed up. And I'm really glad I did because I'm really, really happy where I am now.
I'm not really supposed to pick one word, but I feel like just field hockey, you make so many like lifelong memories. Like if I look back at my time with like provincials, like I'm still in touch with all my friends there. It's allowed me to travel the world. Like I've been to Belarus, Austria, South Africa. It's like, it's a great sport. So if anyone can get involved, it's I highly recommend.
Yeah. I second that.
So you guys had tremendous amount of experience in field hockey, and since the topic of the session is for understanding the life of the varsity athletes, I'm sure the majority of the audience of this session will be high school students who are hoping for, planning, or even thinking about joining varsity team or making it through. So I think it'd be interesting to hear from your experience that we try our best for injury prevention, but unfortunately, being an athlete, it comes with it. And what I personally have heard from other athletes, because I'm not an athlete, so I have no idea. So what I heard is that one of the most challenging time is when injury happens during the waiting time, the recovery time, because that's not something that you can just, go to gym and work out. No, you just need time. What I heard is that the mental challenge during that time can be quite stressful, is what I was shared from some of my friends. And so I was wondering if you guys have any advice, recommendation, or simply just your go-to strategy or things that you have seen that you can give, kind of pass it along to soon-to-be varsity athletes, if you have any.
I think I've been lucky enough, knock on wood, that I haven't had any serious injuries, but I think there's definitely been moments, where I've maybe just pulled something, or I had pretty bad shin splints, like a phase of that for a while. So if I have to sit out or anything like that, it is so mentally tough. I think, we all probably can relate to this, being a varsity athlete, it's always go, 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 go. And then when you stop, it's this weird feeling of I don't know how to rest. My body wants to go, but I need to rest. And I think it is very hard to get into that mindset. But I think in times where, maybe I've had to step out of practice or, miss a match in the past or things like that, I think trying to get involved in your team, with your team in other ways that might not be on the pitch. So whether it's like you're going to be the biggest cheerleader on the bench that day, or you're going to fill up everyone's water bottle before the game, or you're going to hype people up in the dressing room, like finding ways to, get that sense of value without really being on the field, and I think that kind of does make it easier, as much as it is hard, to rest when you need to, because you're still feeling like you are contributing to the team. And as someone, who is a player on the flip end, when you have those injured players and they are your biggest cheerleader, or they are helping and still investing into the team, it does mean a lot, and it helps really contribute to that culture. So
Yeah, I was fortunate as well. Like I didn't really have any serious injuries, but when I had like the minor ones, I think it was just staying involved with the team. You don't want to shut down and just not be involved with it, with anything. Like for me, when I was injured, it's just in practice, you're helping as much as you can, whether it's just collecting balls or being a passer. And then off the field, like with film, I would always help my coach kind of help break down film when I could. And then also the other one, so it was just making sure you're staying involved with your team, because
Same experience as these guys. Haven't had any major injuries that have taken me out for long extended periods of time, but it's the same thing. If I think just stay involved in it. Don't pull yourself out. Don't withdraw from the team. I think the biggest thing too is having the guts to recognize when you are injured, and no one is going to judge you. I think the biggest thing, there's this mindset of like, you're standing on the side and it comes back to the imposter syndrome. It's like, are they judging me because I'm injured? Do they think I'm weak because I'm injured? And that is 100%, that is never our mindset. We are never looking at an injured player like that. We are never thinking those things about you. One of my best friends at Bellarmine was injured, and never once did that thought cross my mind. My only thought was, I can't wait till I get to play with her again. And we always are just wishing you well and hoping that you can come back. So I think injured players should always remember that we're rooting for you. Your teammates rooting for you. And don't be too hard on yourself.
I have a completely different question, and it's almost like it's also the folks that are on the call or listening to this, but also want to understand, like from a selection process, like when you first started and you chose your university, what was the mindset in choosing it, and also your experiences with that whole process? A couple of you are in CWA as well, but like, do you think of best school for hockey? Do you think best school for academics? And what's the whole process like? What went through it?
Yeah, I think for me, like kind of coming back to a few questions ago, like I always knew field hockey was going to be a really big part of my life, and I wanted it to continue to be. So I think it was something that I definitely placed a lot of value in when I was deciding what school I was going to go to. But at the same time, you have to look at the flip side, like you also have a career that is also going to become a big part of your life. And for school, like what are your goals in that avenue? So I think for me, I definitely always knew that I wanted to go to a school that placed a lot of value in academics, but also athletics, and that was going to help contribute to both goals I had in that realm. I think I didn't really know where to start, but I kind of just started with, well, what's my ideal, life in 5-10 years, whatever that might look like. And I landed on, I knew that I wanted to become a lawyer and go to law school eventually. So what undergraduate academic path is going to help me get there. So I definitely knew I wanted to go to an academically rigorous school, which is kind of what led me to McMaster specifically. And they also had a unique program that I really enjoyed and was interested in. And then also in athletics, looking at the coach and the culture. And I went on a lot of tours of almost every university in Ontario, it seemed like at the time. And I met with the players, with the coaches, if you can watch and sit on a few games, like all of those things kind of help put the puzzle piece together. But just, I really sat down and looked at my values, my goals, and then what I thought best aligned with that. More practically, emailing all the coaches, sending them film that I'd taken, whether it was just me in my garage, just doing some stick handling, or I'd gotten my parents to upload an iPad and like record some of the local games. Sending that to coaches and like my resume and my experience with field hockey and kind of who I was as a person helped, not only just get me interested in them, but also kind of flip it and they were interested in me, and kind of having some more realistic conversations about, playing for them. And then at that point, it was just a matter of applying to the school and hoping you get in, and then, yeah, kind of going from there. So, yeah.
For me, I took the NCAA route. Like as a kid, I always knew that's where I wanted to go. So for me, it was going to the showcases in the States where there's like lots of universities that are kind of just lined up there watching you, and then doing the videos, sending that to them. You got to email them a lot. They can't communicate with you till I think you're a junior, like September 1st when I think it's changed since then, but that's what it was for me. And then just when I was with my parents, I kind of broke down the schools that I thought I wanted to go to. I wanted to pick a school where I knew that I was going to play. Like I wanted to go, if I'm going to the States, I want to actually get that experience of playing. And then I also had to look at school. Like, what am I going to have to take more school after? Am I going to be able to start my career right away after? Unfortunately, with the education program that I did take, I was right out of the bat. I was able to start teaching right away. So I wanted to do something where I wouldn't have to do like a master's if I didn't have to. And then, yeah, I visited a bunch of schools as well. I think that's one of the biggest things NCAA wise to get a grasp before you want to go. Doing the visits is big because I got to go to classes with the students were there. I got to just go to their practice. I got to sit with them at lunch because you kind of want the real experience. If you're going somewhere far from home, you really want it to feel like home. And when I was at Providence, when my parents were even with the coaches, it was like, wow, this is where I would have been for my 4 years. So I think you really have to immerse yourself fully into the experience, visit as many schools as you can if you're able to. And that's kind of the best way that I took it.
I guess the first time at Hofstra, it was very much about balancing education and sports. They had great programs, great school. I visited with the coaches a lot. I'd seen campus program, the field hockey was promising. But when I came, to be honest, when I transferred, I knew that I could get an education because I knew I could get an education. That was always important. But for me, I had spent 2 years not playing as much as I would have liked. And so when I transferred, if I'm being honest, I really, really just wanted to play. And so I found a school. I talked to the coach. I found somewhere where they really saw my value as a player and they needed help. They had a very small roster with not a lot of midfielders. And I saw an opportunity to still get a good education, but to really spend 2 years playing and being a very big, a big person, a big role in the midfield. And I took that because I know that my time to play is limited, and I just wanted to play so badly. I wanted to be on that field, and I wanted to take a big role in the lineup.
I think for either, like if you go OUA or NCAA, I think one of the biggest things to do is when you're visiting these schools to ask the coaches questions, because you want to go to the school knowing you're going to get the experience that you want. You don't want to be like in the kind of gray area, get there and like, oh, this is not what I expected. So ask all the questions. Some of the answers might be hard to hear, but you'd rather them be honest and know what you're going into.
Yeah. And I think kind of coming back to that, like, don't be afraid to ask some tough, awkward questions too. Like I've asked coaches, like, what is your coaching style? What do you do if you have conflict with a player or there's someone toxic on the team? What do you think my playing time would look like at a school? Something like that. Like, I think visits can be very like fun, and it's easy to kind of take that more optimistic lens when talking to a coaches and trying to emphasize all the good things, but also just trying to be very realistic and practical, just to make sure that you really do align with the school that you're going to.
Talk to the players too. Talk to the players on the team. If you feel a coach is not giving you the most honest answer, the straightest answer that you want, go to the players and find a player on the team that you think that you can connect with, and really sit down and have that hard conversation, like, what is life really like here? Because you are far from home. You don't have immediate support. I'm 9 hours away from home. It's a 9-hour drive. I don't have that immediate support from my parents. And so you want to feel that needs to be home. It needs to be a second home, and you need people that are going to support you.
So you say there's no such thing as too many questions. Yeah.
Questions and
Yeah.
get asked. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you. One last one from me was, if you could give one piece of advice to your first year varsity self, what would it be?
That's a fun question. I have to think about that.
Mine would be enjoy every moment. I put a lot of pressure on myself. Like, I have to do well this game. I can't mess up in practice. And that was something my dad always told me. Like, he would text me before every game, like, have fun, enjoy the ride. Like, it's 4 years, it goes by really quick. So enjoy every practice, every moment you have with your teammates. Yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I think similarly, like I would say don't be afraid to try. I think, it kind of comes back to like getting in your head. Like sometimes you don't want to look silly on the field, whether it's at practice with your teammates or in a game, you don't want to maybe try something new because, you might put yourself out there and fail. But I think you really don't gain as much as you could from the experience if you don't put yourself out there. And I think failing and the challenges you encounter and overcoming them is such a big part of the process. And you're not going to grow and become, the best version of yourself on or off the field if you don't try. So don't be afraid to try and fail. It's all a part of the journey. So yeah.
I think mine is probably like play for yourself. Coming back, remember who you are. Be true to your play style. Be true to the person that you are, both on and off the field. I knew I was very dedicated with my academics, and be true to that. Be true to, like, they thought it was silly that I was on my computer all the time doing homework, but just always be true to who you are, why you're there. And you can get very caught up when you're on a big team like that. You can get very caught up with, what does that person think of me? What does my coach think of me? What does the goalie think of me? Like, my shots, those are probably so easy to save. And there's just so many people around you on this team. And I think sometimes you just need to come back to yourself and be like, well, what do I think of me? What do I think of the way that I'm playing right now? And how do I make myself, like, make yourself proud? That was my biggest thing. Make myself proud.
Under 16s is happening right now. So what's one thing you would like to say to those athletes that are just about to go into nationals right now? And university is still probably a long way for some of these athletes, but what's a little piece of advice you would give them for this tournament coming up right now?
Play clean, so I don't have to give you a yellow card. I don't like giving cards, so everyone just play clean, please.
I would say have fun. I mean, I think it's a little cliche. But I think looking back, at me during that phase, like I was at U16 nationals now. It's kind of crazy to say now that I'm 20 years old, but there was a time, and I think looking back, like those are some of the best memories that I have from that time in my life. The friendships you make on and off the field, the memories that you're gonna have, the experiences.
That's when we met, 2019
Exactly.
Calgary.
Yeah,
That's when we met, we played together.
15, and
Yeah.
we're still here today, having these conversations, and I think that sometimes it's easy, especially when you're entering your first nationals, like you're like, this is like intense, like this is like I'm playing at a new level that I've never played at before. And again, I think in a lot of ways it is easy to get overwhelmed or overthink it, but I think if you step onto the field with just a positive attitude, ready to have fun and conquer the game, whatever that might look like that day, I think you really can't go wrong. So yeah, I would just say have fun and take in every moment. It goes by very, very fast. So
I'd say play your game too. Don't try and be a player that you're not. Like, you're obviously good enough if you made the team and everything. So you've trained with your team for probably months on months. So play your game, stick to your game plan, and just try not to overcomplicate things. Keep it simple.
Okay, so I think we're good. If there's no other questions
Yeah.
from anybody.
Except to say thank you so
Yeah.
much, Darcie, Maddie, Ella. This was really good. This is the first time we've done something like this in probably a long time, because I believe we don't reinvent the wheel, but yes, but I think it's definitely a first, and it should continue the conversation. So thank you so much. Thank you, Rowena, for facilitating this as well.
Of course.
This is great.
Of course, as you say, there was
And Field Hockey Canada for giving us the space to do it.
Mhm.
All right. Take care.
thank you.
Phil?